Welcome on the Avenue. Welcome once again as David strums along to Modern Sales Meltdown with David Chernick and Gareth Wax of the Many Hats, where we talk about ideas, often agreeing, many times disagreeing, about what one should do in modern sales to improve your chances of landing things and progressing. Today we call it Tech Up, Sell Hard. What are you on about, David?
What you on about? Okay, so soon after last week's show, we were talking about, as we often do, probably in every show, AI comes up.
It is coming up more and more.
It does. So somebody came up to me and said, "Oi, why are you like slagging off AI? I bet you use it," they said. Well, of course I do. Who doesn't?
Were you talking to the AI when they said that? Was it the AI massive coming for you?
No. It's it's somebody who uses it. But we don't. I mean, we don't slag it off. I think we talk quite often about retaining the human element.
Yeah.
We talk about that, and then two people in the last, during this week so far. So we're only on Wednesday. So yesterday and on Monday, on Monday, I submitted a joint bid with somebody for a whole pile of tech. And then yesterday I had another inquiry from somebody who, whilst they weren't asking specifically for tech, that's what they needed. And
when you say tech, what do you mean? That covers a lot of ills.
Something that does include AI and automation.
Right. So it's going to be software, really.
Software. Yeah.
Right.
And it's quite a scary thing for a lot of people. You know, if you've been working in sales, for example, by the time you're our age, you've gone through several iterations of CRM, all of them painful. Yeah.
Most of them did one or two things really well, and everything else really shit.
And if you work for a corporate and you have to use CRM, most corporates, unfortunately, are still using it as a reporting tool to check up to see whether you're doing the right work or not. Yeah, they're not even using it for forecasting. You know, you type in all of your opportunities, it rolls up into a big forecast. The executives actually look at it, ignore it, and go, "Nah, we'll do 5% more than last year."
Exactly. I'm not entirely sure what they thought they were getting when they got it in, because
I mean, I had somebody even yesterday on an inquiry, another one yesterday, who said that their business was not big enough yet to start outsourcing. I asked them what they meant by outsourcing. They were talking really about either automation or getting cold callers in. And again, the adage is that we always talk about here is, don't use outsourcing to fix a problem. Fix the problem. So optimize the process that you are doing. Know that works. Outsource that. Yeah. I had another inquiry yesterday about somebody whose biggest problem was getting their sales team to do what they do. Yeah, they said they'd already written the playbook, which is great. Most people who I deal with, when they first come in, they haven't got a playbook, but they said that they had done one. I asked them if it worked. I haven't quite got the answer to that back, but the biggest problem they faced was getting their salespeople to follow it. Okay,
right. And that may well be because it's one of those playbooks that's great in theory, but in practice maybe not quite as applicable.
Maybe I'm hoping that she that she's tested it, she tried it. This is what she's been using, and she's just written down what she knows works for her, at least, which will probably be better than most of the people that come to me. Okay, right. So her challenge is getting other people to use it, hopefully, but she hasn't answered whether the playbook works. The point is, we've been through loads of software in our times. I mean, even as simple as when you first picked up Excel, or when you first started using ChatGPT, or
with me, it was the first time.
What is it? And then databases, and databases, particularly like CRM, that are activity driving. driving you to follow up those sales opportunities. They're pretty sophisticated pieces of software, which on the one hand is great because they can do so many different things for you, but on the other hand, they can be intimidating, right? And so when you first open them out of the box, it's like they're asking you straight away to submit your data. You put your data in there, and then it's now what? I've got a whole bunch of forms and processes I'm supposed to be customizing. That bit's not relevant, but it's in my way. I have to scroll right down to the bottom to get to the bit that I'm really interested in, all of this stuff. And you realize, oh my God, it's just so painful. You commit to it for a week. You get the email from the software company saying, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? And it's supposed to be coaching you and helping you through. You can even phone up and speak to a human being, what do they call it? A customer excellence manager. Yeah, who'll be able to, customer success manager. Be able to hold your hand all the way through it. But do you? Usually not. And then you sort of lumber through. And by the time you pick up the phone to me, you've been there, done that, didn't work. You just want to outsource it. Can please just somebody else do this for me? Okay, so we know that tech is something that we need to use. And if the reason that we're not using it is because we want to deploy our human side, that's one thing. But it's usually not just that one thing. It's usually, in fact, even sometimes more, a fear of the technology.
Yeah, I think that people are quite right not to be scared of technology, but scared of application. I think there is lots of technology out there that let's take CRM as a good example. Underneath those three letters, we've got at one end reporting tools, the other end sales management tools, and right in the middle, you've got ones that are almost things whereby a sales manager can make sure he can crack the whip effectively. And in my book, what most businesses need is a system whereby they can track, where each salesperson can track what they're doing and apply the script effectively. That's really the fundamental use it should be. Yeah. But very rare do I ever see people actually using it that way.
Correct. Yeah. And there are sort of two main schools of thought in terms of getting software for sales. I mean, I'm sure that it's the same schools of thought for other support functions, but I know about sales. And one of those is to buy these software off the shelf, and start using them and customizing them and then integrating them with your other pieces of software. So your email talks to your database, talks to your automated processes, to all of that, billing, even everything, right? That's one school of thought. Buy it off the shelf. These guys that make that software, that's all they do. So they know it way better than you could possibly know it, right? So just follow their system. And I actually, to a greater or lesser degree over the years, favor that method. If you can use it. If you think you're better at doing inbound marketing than HubSpot, well, you're probably not. Okay, you're an accountant, so go and use HubSpot because they're better at it than you. So, and if they suggest that you follow a particular process, chances are that they're right and you're wrong.
Yes.
However, these pieces of software are intimidating. And people don't use them to their anywhere near their full impact. So the alternative, the other school of thought, is to get your own software written for you. Okay. Now, AI, I know. Over the years, I mean, I've been a sales manager, right? I've been the customer of these sorts of things. Okay. I only set my business up 15 years ago. Before that, I was an employee. So I would be a user, I was a buyer, and I would never have accountants. There are a number of people that used to come up to me, can we just write this ourselves? Early in my career, I was working for an outsourced call center business. We had a client that had a very specific requirement for a call handling script.
Right.
And I had these texts in and we were trying to write it. It was never right. It was so painful. Right. Can we just buy this stuff? However, there have been some instances, quite a lot of them over the years, where we have written stuff. Written our own software to do our own thing. Not necessarily been the easiest way in the past, and also something for me that was very disconcerting, because you would end up with a piece of software that was very dependent on the person who had written it. If my HubSpot, and I'm a HubSpot subscriber, if my HubSpot had some sort of flaw in it, I wouldn't even need to phone them saying, oh, this thing stopped working. They'd probably have like 1 million people telling them that, and they'd have their people sorting it all out, right? But what happens if I've got this guy, this software whiz to write something, and then I need something changing, or something changes, an integration changes, it no longer works with my email, then what? I have to phone that guy. What if he's no longer there? Yeah, so feels like I'm very dependent on them. So there are pros and cons of this kind of stuff, but it's moving so quickly, man.
What I favor are ones with a core piece of software which does usually the database end of it, to which you can either write stuff that latches onto it. So you rather than writing the whole thing, you're just writing a module.
Yeah.
Or the one whereby you've got a whole range of modules made by third parties that you can just subscribe to fix those specific issues. Like a classic one would be a mass mailing tool that latches onto it, or a tool that is reporting tool that latches onto it. Now I favor that, but it still takes a good level of interrogation to make sure that you're not wasting your effort, your time on working out how to make everything integrate.
Yeah. I got a message from a very, very good friend of mine who we probably mentioned on the show before, an absolute marketing genius and a wonderful human, Al Tepper. And I was telling him ages ago. Yeah, he's brilliant. And I was telling him how I was doing some automation and stuff on my systems and integrations. And his first message was, "You're not doing it yourself, are you?" Because you can't. I mean, Gareth, you might be able to. Yeah.
I choose not to, because I know there are people who do it better than me.
My brother-in-law does it. That's cool. They immerse themselves in it, and that's great. That's their shtick, their thing. However, for the majority of the rest of us, no, this does mean getting that guy in, right? And I'm here to tell you that it's worth considering that as an option. These 2 inquiries that I had on Monday and on Tuesday need that. They do not need a whole backing great CRM system. They're not ready for it. Yeah, their mindset isn't even ready for that. What they need to be able to do is, in one case, have his website with the booking system on it, so that people can then, when he's having his conversations with people, you can point them at that. They find the page, it shows them the landing page, they pick a date, they pick the package, they select the thing, they book it in, it appears in his diary, they pay, or if they don't pay, they get chased, and he gets instructions actually in his email system he wanted that tell him what to do to service that particular client. Yeah,
right.
That's what he needs. Now, what's he going to use? Of course, he can use his WordPress. He can combine that with his Zero account, with this, with all of these other apps that he's got. He's never going to do it. He's never going to do that.
He'll make a start, and then something else will come along that needs
he'll try, and it'll be painful, and then he has to run his business.
Yep.
And it's still going. Okay, so what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to get somebody in to do it. He can either go to one of these systems integration companies, these value-added sellers that the consultants that work behind the scenes and independent of HubSpot, but are experts at HubSpot, and they'll do it. Or he's going to have to find a dude, right? And so I have such a dude. Now, he actually does have a substantial business, a 16 people business, okay, mainly coders. But when I go to him, I tell him what I am doing that I want that system to be able to do on my behalf, because there's quite a lot of stuff that I do that can be automated. Yeah. And I'm only one person. Yeah. And I don't want to be hiring people to do those things. Okay. Even a VA. And there are some things that, yes, I want a human being to do. But, if I've spent 30 odd years working out how to get someone to open an email that's about closing the deal, I've got an idea how to do that, right? So, and I've got an idea that that's not just something that needs one requirement. If I'm trying to bash down the door of somebody I want to have a meeting with, I want to go and sell to, I know that that's going to take, as we've said before, 6 attempts, and I know what to say. And yes, there's a lot of personalization involved, because I'll perhaps look at their LinkedIn profile to figure out what triggers I can be using, but a lot of that can be used, can be automated. So I tell these guys, and you'll know whether they're any good by whether they understand what you're trying to tell them. Yeah.
Right.
Now,
right.
You can either, a couple of years ago when I started doing this, the person told me, write it down, which was a proper ball ache for me to have to do. Yeah. I personally find it way easier to talk it through. Yeah. You write it down. They write it down. Yeah. Or I can tell a chat GPT what I do and just like talk freely to it without having to worry about my grammar and English. And I can use convoluted, complicated, sophisticated language just to make sure I get my point across, and it gets it. And then it can summarize it for me. And then I go to, in my case, Didi, or his team rather. This is what I want it to do. And you know what their response is?
Get ChatGPT to write it?
No, what they do, I don't care what they do. They know how to use these things. Their response is twofold. Firstly, they ask clarification questions.
Right. That's the correct answer.
Yeah. And then after that, they go, right, leave it with us. And they come back in a couple of days with it done. Breath of fresh air, man. Breath of fresh air.
Of course, it's a breath of fresh air because it gives you
not
space
expensive.
to breathe.
Not expensive because it doesn't take that much time.
Yeah. Well, that's the rarity. Usually, when my experience has been integration companies or companies that write small software solutions to problems like that, they see that you're desperate and charge accordingly. And
you have to use people that you have. I mean, this is where referral marketing comes in. Use people that you know have been used by your mates and your people. Yeah, ask your friends, your colleagues that have got businesses where this stuff seems to be a little bit more slick than you. And so, who do you use for your tech? Who's programming those? Oh well, we've used this. We've got it in house, or oh my god, I do it myself. I'm up all night doing it. Whatever it is, just find out who those things are, or phone me.
David does have a good network of people.
I've got a good network. You've probably got a good network. You have got a good network. So we know a lot of people. So ask people who you use.
I would say if you're looking for someone to help you alleviate a particular tech issue, you probably could approach either of us, and we would have people that
I've got a handful of these. I've got a handful of them, and the thing is that you don't need an entire new software system to be written bit by bit. In Arabic, we say shwaya shwaya. Little, one step at a time. Yeah. So start off instead of like selecting a piece of software that you think can handle most of your problems.
Right.
Prioritize your problems and start writing for that. And if they use a platform like Go High Level or anything like that, then great. But just do it. And if they get run over by a bus and you're dependent on them in the future, just get someone else to rewrite it. It'll be fine. But don't wait in the meantime, waiting for some silver bullet software that's going to do everything your way, how you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note, guys, I hope you found that useful. One thing to take from this whole discussion is whatever your tech issue, if you've got people in your network who've either been through it or know people who can help you get through it, do that. Approach them. Don't just sit there plutzing about something thinking I can't move forward because I can't move backwards. There's always a way. You just need to have the right discussion with the right people.
My guys are amazing, by the way. My guys are absolutely amazing.
Well, there you go. So on that note, thanks for watching. Remember, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and hopefully you'll catch the moon on the way. And try and look after that mental health. Until next week.
Ciao, ciao.